Who will be the dark horses of Euro 2024? Who will be the underachievers? And who will be the eventual winners? That's what we're going to discuss and decide on ESPN's Football Forecast with Nubaid and Kweku. Right, let's get straight into it. No messing about. Dark horses. Nubaid.
I've gone with Hungary. I think there's actually quite a few options in this tournament. There's quite a few sides that a lot of people will go, they could turn up and do something. I think there'll be some surprises. I like the look of like a Georgia surprise or Romania surprise, but in terms of a team that most people are going to go, they'll probably go out in the group stages or they won't go far. Probably Hungary. I think they've got a really good blend in their side, probably the most physical team. And often in the Euros, you go like, if you're England, Portugal, Germany, who do you not want to face? It is a team like Hungary who are physical, they'll sit in, they'll soak up pressure and then hit you on the counter. And so far, everything I've seen, they've won their qualification group, they're a well-balanced side. The one worry is definitely strength and depth going forward. If they lose their striker, Varga, they've got a big problem. But if they keep him fit, then they'll score goals and they'll cause problems. Yeah,
a lot of people quite enjoying Hungary. And actually, I think all three that we've gone for here, a lot of people kind of are spotting them for different reasons. You've gone for a different team, Kweku?
I have gone for Austria as dark horses, and a lot was made of their qualifying campaign under Ralf Rangnick and the resurgence of Austria. It's difficult though with this dark horses tag because we saw it burden Denmark a couple of years ago and they crumbled under that pressure. And I feel
Turkey, I think, the tournament before.
Yeah. And people... It's because what the dark horses really mean, does it mean you're going to exceed expectation? And for Austria, what does that mean? They're in a very difficult group with France, Netherlands and Poland. And if dark horses means getting out of that group, then I definitely think they can achieve that, especially with a lot of the groups, 3 teams getting out of it. And they're difficult to play against. And that's what, it lends itself to tournament football. And Ralf Rangnick's obviously a very experienced manager. I feel like, having watched them in qualification, they're a team that's well set up for tournament football. But the only thing that may hold them back is the difficulty of their group. But I fancy their chances in terms of causing upsets to one of the big teams that are in their group.
I think it's difficult. Like you say, I think there does feel like a bit of a gap between some of these teams that we're talking about and then the other guys. But then when we think about that tournament, France went out at that tournament. There's always these shocks. Mm-hmm. And so it will come to be. And I think my pick is Ukraine. And I think Ukraine, they've got a stronger squad than people give them credit for. And I think the thing that I really, really have got into, and it's at the forefront of my mind when I'm looking at these squads, is have you got good players everywhere? Have you got that bit of balance? Maybe not that overall depth, but have you got a solid amount of balance? And I feel like Ukraine have got so much potential there. You got Zinchenko, who'll probably play in midfield in this team. Dovbyk up top, La Liga's top scorer, 24 goals. Mudryk, who... at international level could really, really hurt teams. Zabani, who at Bournemouth has had a fantastic season for them. Sudakov, who we've spoken about as one of our breakthrough players, who I think is from Shakhtar Donetsk and will just get on the ball a lot of the time. Technically, just a really, really strong team. Mikolenko is a fullback. So again, it's one where, okay, maybe not utter world beaters, but overall, there's a nice spread there, nice balance there. You've got Lunin in goal, who's obviously done brilliantly for Real Madrid this season as well. And importantly, I think they've got a weaker group than some of the other guys. Belgium, Romania and Slovakia. Belgium, I think I expect to top that group, but Romania and Slovakia, I don't see much when I look at those two. And I feel like, therefore, Ukraine will finish second at the very least. Could even cause a bit of a stir when it comes to playing against Belgium. And then who knows what can happen after that. The other side of it, underachievers. Who do you think, Nubaid?
I've gone for Portugal.
What?
We've been sat here for a little while, and both of you guys are going, they're going to go all the way, or they're going to cause big problems. But I did the Euros selector thing where you go through where teams are going to finish, and I've got it that they'll play Croatia in the round of 16 because of where Croatia will finish in their group. And I think they'll be out in the round of 16. I look at the Portugal side, and I look at Roberto Martinez more specifically, and go, with that golden generation at Belgium, which I think was an unfair tag, actually. He underachieved really, really badly. And for me, this Portugal team has so much quality and depth, but also a complex side to pull together. So you have like Bruno Fernandes, who we've spoken about in a separate video. His best position is as a number 10, a sort of box-crashing, goal-scoring midfielder. Ronaldo up top, how is he going to deal with that? He didn't deal with Lukaku and De Bruyne very well when he managed Belgium. So I just think the whole balance of that team was actually in a place where you'd go, this is the 11, and they're going to make it work. I think for Roberto Martinez, like it was at Belgium, he's just got too many players. Sometimes that doesn't work out that well for managers.
No, yeah. You said that you think Belgium are going to top their group.
Yeah.
I think they're going to underachieve in this tournament. I think it's going to be the final nail in the coffin of the golden generation. they're a side that lack identity, and Tedesco's a good manager, and the Schalke team were like noted for winning the ball back and being hyper aggressive. I don't think they've got the midfielders for that. Onana can do that. We saw that against England. But if you're going to accommodate Kevin De Bruyne, I say accommodate Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is one of the best centre midfielders in the world, but no longer is he that physical force that he was. And I think we saw that towards the back end of the season. I think as a result of that, they're going to struggle. I said in the previous video, I think by the end of the tournament, Lukaku won't be starting for them. I think that Trossard will be playing down the middle. You have Doku on one side, you have Bakayoko on the other side. They're a side that just lack identity, and they're a side that people see them as a big name because historically they've had some good players, but I'm just not impressed by what I've seen by them. And the game against England, I know they've got a draw in it, but I was looking at them and analysing it. I didn't see much there to be fearful of.
I'm going to go with... so when we talk about underachievers, I think you could, like, defending champions, you could go Italy, but I think broadly no one's expecting too much from them. So I'm going to go with the Netherlands because when you're on paper, their squad is fantastic. Like the defensive options that they've got, the options they've got at fullback as well. Therefore, when you see that, I think you have high expectations for them. In defence, I think you've got Van der Ven, you've got Van Dijk, you've got De Ligt, you've got so many incredible defenders there. They should be going really far. It just feels like what we've seen before when it comes to the Netherlands, and I think they'll have a high opinion of themselves, and understandably so. As I get Xavi Simons, Frankie de Jong. I'm not sure about Ronald Koeman bringing this team together. That's my problem.
I feel like with this Netherlands side for many, many years, you look at it and you go, they're always missing one piece, and I think this team's missing a striker, and they have been for a few years.
They've got Cody Gakpo.
He's not a striker. Yeah. He's like in these tournaments, you need a guy who plays through the middle every single game, and you saw it in the last tournament. He wants to drop in and pick the ball up. Yeah. For the longest time now, when they've had a good defence, you go, they don't have the midfielders or they don't have a keeper. Actually, they don't have a keeper this tournament either. Yeah. And I've always said to win tournaments, you either have a wonderful goalkeeper or a wonderful striker. I feel like they don't have either of those.
It's a really good point. Yeah, and I just think with the group there, France, Austria and Poland, you spoke about Austria and thinking that they could do something special. Yeah. I think they could, and I think that could be a real shock in terms of Austria against the Netherlands. So I'm going to go with the Netherlands to finish third, although I am fearful that they finish third and then play England and beat them. Anyway, just put it down. Last on. And then, of course, winners. So in terms of the favourites, I've got them in front of me now. England are favourites. France, Germany, Portugal, Spain and Italy. Scotland not on the list somehow, which is a shame for me. Who do you see winning the tournament?
I've been German throughout every single video that's come to the Euros, so I'm gonna go Germany again. I'm curious to see what the sentiment is like outside of England, and I've spoken to a few German fans and they're actually saying we're not actually ready to win a tournament, we're not going to do it. But I feel like a lot of home nations do say that. Although saying that, German fans are normally quite confident, but I do think when I look at this side, that midfield is outrageously good. The forward options are brilliant as well. I do worry a little bit about the fullbacks, but they've still got a wonderful goalkeeper and a good pair of centre backs. I think the spine of that team is in a really good place. And it's a home tournament, and Toni Kroos has to win the Ballon d'Or. This is the way to do it.
But you mentioned spine, and yeah, great spine. No width, no pacing behind, even from their fullback areas. And I think that'll be an issue for them, especially mentioned it before. Other teams have got weak fullbacks, and that's where you can really exploit and cause damage. And that's why I think England will do damage in this tournament. And that's why I think Germany are lacking. Great players who play centrally, but will that not be a bit congested?
I don't think so. I think it really depends, because if you look at, say, Pep Guardiola's team, they'd played De Bruyne and Foden as a pair of narrow 10. So I think it's doable. It depends who you come up against. So many things can happen, but they've got a lot of match winners, and we've spoken so many times this season about cheat codes to win the league, etc., etc. They have so many that sometimes those can just, like Portugal is a great example. Those players can just get you over the line eventually.
Kweku.
You talked about Portugal's cheat codes. Cheat codes, good lord. The squad, I just marvel at it. I look at the squad, I'm like, they'll get into England, they'll get into... Like, there's so many players that won't even touch pitch for Portugal at this tournament because they've got such a deep squad. Got a fairly easy group as well in terms of Georgia, Turkey and Czech Republic. I expect them to run riot at this tournament. I picked Bruno Fernandes to be my player of the tournament, and I expect Portugal to have a great tournament and to recapture the Euro crown that they won in 2016 without a Cristiano Ronaldo starting for them, with a Cristiano Ronaldo accepting his role as an impact substitute and coming on in big moments. And
where are you getting that from?
I just think...
That's what you see. That's what you see.
That's just what I think. That's the path to success for them. I don't see Cristiano Ronaldo being the Ronaldo that drags the team to success, and I think this Portugal team's a lot better without him in it, personally.
Okay. You've been consistent, Nubaid, and I respect you for that. And I like to be consistent in being indecisive.
You're saying that I'm not consistent?
No, you're always consistent, Kweku. But I am consistently indecisive, and I'm looking at these names here, and my heart says England. And a long time ago, as I said to you, Nubaid, recently, I said I think it's England's time. But I am very concerned about the left-back situation, about the defensive situation for us. And so my head then leads towards France and Portugal. And I think we have, even in these videos, I think it's one of those ones where, well France are there, aren't they? And so, there's no point talking about France. That's not interesting. So let's talk about Portugal, which I think is valid, right? And I think they obviously have that hunger, that freshness in their squad to go and achieve. But this France squad is outrageous as well, and will always be one of the favourites. So I am going to somewhat sit on the fence because I feel like I just need a bit of time. I'm going to go for England, but I would not be surprised if I saw a France-Portugal final once again.
France just missed the X factor in midfield this time round. I like Zaire Emery, Tchouameni and Camavinga, but I think
Griezmann? Not got the X factor.
Yeah, but Griezmann's sort of like, where's he going to fit in? Because that front three, he's going to play obviously, but the front three is going to be probably Giroud, Mbappe, Colomwani, probably maybe Dembele.
Dembele not going to as well, yeah.
Yeah, so Griezmann probably plays in that midfield, but I don't think he's the X factor.
That's where you're wrong. Antoine Griezmann.
No, Antoine Griezmann's an outstanding footballer, but X factor is a different sort of thing.
Was Mbappe not that X factor either?
He's a forward though, so I just look at that midfield and go, that Mbappe, you can close him out of a game we've seen in the Champions League.
We saw that in the World Cup final, didn't we?
Yeah.
We are none the wiser. Are you wiser than us? Probably. Let us know in the comments down below. Who's going to win it? Throughout Euro 2024, Bet365 is unleashing their super boost every single match day. So make sure you check out their boost to find out that it's never ordinary at Bet365.